Welcome to Tech News for 4th July 2021. Dutch court rejects Facebook bid to have privacy lawsuit. A court in Amsterdam ruled that privacy litigation against Facebook in the Netherlands can proceed, rejecting the social network's bid to have the lawsuit from two non-profit groups thrown out. As TechCrunch reported, the Amsterdam-based Data Privacy Foundation and the Dutch consumer advocacy organization Consumentenbond are suing Facebook on behalf of users over what they claim are violations of European privacy law. The lawsuit says Facebook has not provided enough details about the information it gathers from users, including what it does with the data, and therefore doesn't have a legal basis to process the information. Facebook tried to block the lawsuit, claiming that Amsterdam court doesn't have jurisdiction over its European businesses, which it argues is subject to Irish law. The Court of Amsterdam disagreed, writing in its decision that the Data Privacy Foundation may litigate before the Dutch court on behalf of Dutch users of the Facebook service against Facebook about whether Facebook has violated the privacy of its users. Apple shouldn't use privacy and security to starve off competition, EU antitrust head warns. Responding to comments made by Apple CEO Tim Cook in June, European Union Commission Chief Margrethe Vestager said that Apple shouldn't use privacy and security concerns to stifle competition on the App Store. Vestager, the European Commission's executive vice president, has proposed regulations that could force Apple to allow alternate app stores. Apple CEO Tim Cook spoke out against the proposal, stating that they would threaten the privacy and security of iOS. In an interview with Reuters, Vestager agreed with Cook that privacy and security are important factors for consumers, but warned the Cupertino tech giant against using concerns about them to fend off competition. "I think privacy and security is of paramount importance to everyone," Vestager said. "The important thing here is, of course, that it's not a shield against competition, because I think customers will not give up neither security nor privacy if they use another app store or if they sideload." Vestager added that she was open to changes in her proposals, which need input from EU member states and lawmakers before it can become law. "I think that it's possible to find solutions to this," Vestager said. Xiaomi patents clamshell-like foldable phone design similar to Galaxy Z Flip series. Xiaomi is reportedly working on another foldable phone with a clamshell-like folding design. A new patent on China National Intellectual Property Administration has revealed sketches of this work-in-progress model, and it looks to be similar to the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip series. Xiaomi unveiled its first foldable phone, Mi Mix Fold, earlier this year, and it seems that the company is looking to foray more into this segment. The Mi Mix Fold had a book-like opening similar to the Galaxy Fold series. My Smart Price has spotted the patent on CNIPA first and shared several sketches of the Xiaomi foldable phone from varied angles. As mentioned, it has a clamshell-like open and closing with hinges seen on either side edges. There is thick bezel surrounding the display edges, and tall pill-shaped cutouts sits on top of left corner of the screen. On the back, the Xiaomi foldable phone has a circular-shaped camera module with 3 sensors inside. The flash is seen sitting on the top left end of the rear panel. The volume and power buttons reside on the right side, whereas the SIM tray, speaker grill, and Type-C port all sit in the bottom edge. There is no 3.5mm audio jack inside. There is no fingerprint sensor seen either, and it's presumed to be superimposed on the power button. Additionally, the sketches suggest that the Xiaomi folding phone may not have secondary small screen at the back for notifications and alerts. Sony acquires PC port developer Nixxes Software. Just days after announcing the acquisition of Returnal developer Housemarque, Sony revealed that Dutch studio Nixxes will be the next member of the growing PlayStation Studios family. If the name Nixxes doesn't ring a bell for most gamers, that's because the studio hasn't developed any projects in its over 20-year history. Instead, Nixxes has primarily specialized in creating a variety of PC and console ports for games from the likes of Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics, both now Square Enix subsidiaries. That makes Nixxes an especially intriguing acquisition for Sony, which has been slowly dipping an increasing number of toes into the PC gaming space in recent years. Facebook under fire as US lawmakers press for new antitrust complaint. A bipartisan group of US lawmakers, expert in antitrust, urged the Federal Trade Commission Friday to press on with the lawsuit against Facebook, according to a statement from Senator Amy Klobuchar. In a letter to the new FTC chair, Lina Khan, Klobuchar, Senator Mike Lee, and Representatives David Sislin and Ken Buck urged the FTC to pursue enforcement against Facebook and to consider all available options under the law for ensuring that the Commission's claims receive full and fair hearing. Klobuchar and Sislin, both Democrats, and Lee and Buck, both Republicans, hold the top positions on congressional antitrust panels. The FTC is expected to file a new complaint against Facebook after US District Judge James Boasberg of District of Columbia dismissed one field in December, experts said. That complaint, which asked him to require Facebook to sell photo sharing app Instagram and messaging app WhatsApp, fell short, Boasberg said, because the FTC failed to show the company had monopoly power and instances of alleged anti-competitive behavior were too old. Several veteran FTC officials said it was implausible that the agency did not have data to back up its assertion that Facebook had in excess of 60% of the social media market. OnePlus is integrating its mobile operating system with Oppo's. Half a month after OnePlus announced that it's becoming an Oppo sub-brand, it has revealed that it's also merging Oxygen OS with its new parent company's Color OS. The two brands have come to the decision to best leverage their shared resources and to standardize the software experience across their portfolio. But what does OnePlus mean exactly when it said that they are working on integrating codebase of Oxygen OS and Color OS? It is said that you may not even notice a difference because the changes are happening behind the scenes. Oxygen OS will still be using operating system for OnePlus devices released globally. As 9 to 5 Google notes, OnePlus phones released in China already run Color OS, and that will likely remain the case. It's just that the operating systems will now share a code base. All new devices the sub-brand will release will run the new Oxygen OS, while current devices that are still receiving updates will get the new platform via an over-the-air update. Apple supply chain readying for third quarter 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro release. The supply chain appears to be preparing itself for September debut of the new Apple Silicon computers, with the 14-inch and the 16-inch MacBook Pro expected to debut in the third quarter of 2021. According to sources within the supply chain, Apple has validated two new suppliers for mini LED components. As part of Paywell report, DigiTimes claims that the backlit components from the new suppliers are intended for a third quarter release of the new Apple Silicon MacBook Pro models and not the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Suppliers Zending and Tripod have reportedly completed validation and yield checks and will start ramping up production to meet production needs to meet Apple's timetable. Given that the checks are said to have just completed, it isn't precisely clear when in third quarter the products will launch. But given historical lead times on component shipments intended for sub-assembly like a screen that will be used for a finished product, a release of the MacBook Pro at an Apple September event seems probable versus one in July or August. Chromebook tablet multitasking will soon be easier. In exciting news, recently spotted by Chrome Unboxed, work is being done to mitigate the severe UI sluggishness when resizing windows with split view divider. With this improvement in tow, multi-window productivity on Chrome tablets will be a lot more pleasant to use, hopefully spelling an end to the eyesore lag that's all too apparent today. Since the improvement refactors things quite a bit, the developers gated their efforts behind an upcoming Chrome flag, which you will be able to enable and test once it lands in Chrome OS, Dave and Canary. With its upcoming change, Chrome OS will dynamically switch between resizing windows and moving them depending on how fast you fling the divider. If you resize the windows faster than the 72 pixels per second, Chrome OS will move the window instead, which is computationally faster than scaling it and redrawing. The code change also adds an observer that allows your Chromebook to identify the snapped application's bounds and neatly divide it without overlapping the divider. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. You can read about these stories in detail from the links provided in the description.